Diving into your next act or wondering what's ahead? Enjoy life as you change your path and embrace your authentic self.
Join me as we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of making big changes in your life. New directions both personally and professionally. Shake things up. But don't worry, you are not alone. On each episode, we'll be sharing stories, providing valuable information, and introducing you to others navigating their next act. So let's get inspired.
This is a Candy Factory Convo, Life in the Next Act with Gail Shane.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Life in the Next Act. Today we are going to talk with Amanda Funk, Assistant Principal at Southeast Middle School. Amanda will be discussing her passion for education and her journey to where she is today. She will discuss how important lifelong learning is and how your attitude affects everything. Amanda will also talk about educating during a pandemic and being a single mom to a foster daughter. Amanda holds a master's degree in educational leadership and administration from Alvernia College in Pennsylvania and a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education from Millersville University of Pennsylvania. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Gail.
How are
so
you?
Good to be here. I'm doing well.
I'm glad. We have so much to talk about, and I'm excited. Amanda, you have held many positions with the School District of Lancaster, teaching second grade, third grade, and sixth grade. You are a former dean of students at an elementary school, a former instructional coach at a middle school, and now assistant principal at Southeast Middle School. Please share your education journey with us.
So, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. My journey has been not the straight and narrow. And my first year of teaching, actually, there was a teacher that was retiring that year, and she was retiring after 38 years in the same classroom teaching the same grade. And kudos to her, but I knew right away that wasn't for me. So my story started really strangely. Actually, I was at Penn State to be a graphic design photography major, and I wanted to be a teacher or a nurse my whole life. My senior year of high school, I thought I would take an easy blow-off course, and I took graphic design and photography, and I happened to be really good at it and loved it. But I came home from Penn State to take care of my grandfather who was sick, and I was at home, and my grandparents said, "Hey, thanks for coming home and helping, but you need to get a job." And a friend of mine was currently the director of a school at Montessori, and she needed an art teacher. So she knew I had an art background, and she said, "Hey, why don't you just come down, observe for a day, and let us know what it's like, and see if you want to be our art teacher for 2 weeks." And so I came, I saw, I conquered. I left Montessori and went straight to Millersville University admissions office and found out how to transfer all of my credits from Penn State. And I enrolled in elementary education, got accepted to Millersville, and summer, fall, winter, spring, for 2 full years, I went and got my degree in elementary education. From there, my first job was at King Elementary in the School District of Lancaster. I went from there to, I was the last person hired, and it was time to furlough some jobs. So my principal came to me and said, "Hey, I want to keep you, but if push comes to shove, I'm going to have to let you go. You were the last one hired." So I started looking for another job just in case. That landed me at Warwick School District teaching sixth grade. And I was there for a couple years. While I was there, I left the classroom and returned to School District of Lancaster, which is my passion and my heart. My grandfather was a teacher, a principal, and a acting superintendent for elementary schools in the School District of Lancaster. So it's special to me. I grew up going to his schools with him. I wanted to be there. So I was the dean of students at Washington Elementary. I was there for 5 or 6 years, and another opportunity came, New Choices, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I left teaching altogether and went into the nonprofit world. I was there for a year, came back to the School District of Lancaster as a coach, and was there for a couple years, and then came back to Southeast community of Lancaster City and landed at Southeast Middle School. And I absolutely love every step of my journey to get here.
So that journey was at 15 years, 20 years, 12 years, approximately. You're
That's going to give away my age a little bit.
All right. All right.
No, we're talking about 20 years.
Amazing.
20 years.
Amazing. Yeah. I don't, you started at 10. No, possibly. Well, your former position as program coordinator for New Beginnings at New Choices Career Development Program, that had to have been very rewarding as well as tough. Can you tell us what that was like and how it helped you shift back to the school district?
Sure. So I volunteered with New Choices for a couple of years, and the program director and I became good friends. We had a great working relationship, and she approached me and said, "Hey, I want to take New Choices into the prison, and I'd like to call it New Beginnings. Would you be interested in running it and helping coordinate that?" So not really sure. She got me at the right time. I never was looking to leave public education. And even though I say I left education, I went into this role in the prison. It was a teaching position. There was a lot of case management and casework with the women that I was teaching, but ultimately I was teaching. So it was 5 classes a year in the prison. I had somewhere between 10 and 15 women over the age of 18 who were getting ready to transition out of the prison in the next 30 to 60 days. The classes were 2 weeks in length, all day long. And once they got out, they were to come see me at my office, which then was at the on Orange Street, and to help navigate their life again, get their life back on track, help them get connected to resources. As a graduate of the program, they were then eligible for scholarships for further training. So there was a lot to offer in that program. And, you know, the perspective that I gained working with those women, it came full circle to my working with children in School District of Lancaster, and then working with families that were from all over the county, but in similar situations that some of my families in SDOL were in. It just came full circle. It was maybe some prejudgments that I had of parents when I was working with kids diminished. It really forced me to understand that parents love their kids no matter what, and that everybody does the best with what they have. And that, I think, is just always important. It's very easy to say, well, you know, where's this kid's parent, or why is this person doing this? And where it's not our place to judge. You have to know that people are doing the best they can with what they have, and they want to do well.
So this program changed the lives of many women. Who were the women, you know, and how did it change your life?
So a lot of the women were caught up in tough situations. We definitely had, you could see the remnants of the heroin problem that we have. There was a lot of addicts, and unfortunately some of them, to feed their habit, broke the law to do something, but not always. There were, women that were just, I think they just lacked some self-confidence. Mm-hmm. And this class taught them not only career development skills, but like self-efficacy skills, and taught them that they were worth something, and helped them stand on their own 2 feet. And to advocate for themselves, to know that they were worth it. And it was always great when we knew that someone was getting released and I hear that knock on the office door. It was just, I would beam with pride when they would walk through that door. They had to overcome a lifetime of obstacles to come knock on that door. And they did. And that was the first step.
And Amanda, you were involved as a volunteer and a member with the Junior League of Lancaster. They do so many things. Which programs touched you the most?
That's a really tough question. And I'm not sure if I can say that they touched the most, but at wherever I was in my life and in my journey, this organization was real important to me. So Junior League, of course, introduced me to New Choices, introduced me to Aaron's Acres, which is a respite organization for parents with children of disabilities. Mm-hmm. Kids in the Kitchen was something that was a committee within the Junior League, and it helped combat childhood obesity. And I took that program into School District of Lancaster after school programs, and we serviced 1 year between all the events we did in the community and kids in the School District of Lancaster and a couple other schools, more than 2,000 kids in a year. Our program was able to reach. Girls on the Run was another one. Carrie Johnson is one of the amazing women that run that program here, and she was a former Junior League member. And I ended up coaching for years at Washington Elementary, and then when Washington and Hand, our middle school, are right next to each other. Some of my girls, when they left 5th grade and went to 6th grade, there wasn't a coach for the middle school. So I handed the elementary program to my assistant coaches, and I took the middle. It was just, Girls on the Run is one of the most amazing programs. And I've probably been involved for 10 plus years. And every year at their final run in the spring, I cry like a baby when I see those girls cross the finish line. Power Packs is a huge one, and they are heavily involved in the School District of Lancaster. They give families food to kind of power them through the weekend. Mm-hmm. But not only they just give food, but they give recipes. So it becomes a family event, and the family can make food together and kind of participate in a family activity. Benchmark program is another one. Will Kiefer has become a dear friend of mine. He is an amazing person. Benchmark is a gym for youth. I think it's even involved now to the juvenile system will assign children, not really children, but will assign kids to the program to complete so many hours. They have a leadership and a mentor program. And it started as, in school, when I have to have a tough conversation with a kid, I take them for a walk. So when you walk and talk, you tend to get more done. And so Will had this idea of like, hey, let's just go to the gym and work out. And while we work out, let's talk about some tough stuff. And that's where kids kind of let their guard down and allow you to come in to their world and open up. And honestly, most recently, the Gifts That Give Hope Fair. This is something that, again, Junior League participates in every year. Not many people know about it, and it hurts my heart. But it's a fair that vendors come to, and you can go and walk around and learn about all these nonprofits here in Lancaster County, and there's a couple international ones as well. And then you can make a donation. So, for instance, Habitat for Humanity was one of the organizations. My dad worked at McMinn's Asphalt his whole life. And so I made a $25 donation, and that was to get a construction worker steel tip boots. So then they gave me a little slip of paper, and they gave me a greeting card. And for Christmas, I gave it to my dad, and it said, "Dad, because of you, someone was able to have a pair of steel tip boots."
Wow.
We have so much in our life. We don't need things like objects. And so Gifts That Give Hope Fair, my daughter and I we did our list on Monday night, and we got the gifts for all my family. My family, you have those gifts again this year, right? So I think I've been doing that now for 5 or 6 years, and that has become a cherished tradition in my family. So I've made some of my very best friends at Junior League. A group that some people in Lancaster County know go by the name of Dawn's Divas. That group was formed when our dear friend Dawn McCabe Howarth was diagnosed with breast cancer. About 11 of us from the junior league came together and we did the 60-mile 3-day walk for breast cancer in Philadelphia. We raised over $30,000 in a year to do that walk, and just to support Dawn in her journey. And that is when I always knew positive attitude and positive outlooks were important in life, but never did I meet anyone going through something that Dawn was going through that had an attitude of just sheer positivity that she had. She would be driving to chemo and she would call me and say, "Hey, good luck today at school. I remember you said you had a presentation." And she's in the car on the way to chemo, so like she just embodied that positivity that I still strive to just get to her level. But I work really hard at it every day. But I could see that your mindset is really what takes you places. It can take you to positive places and it can take you to negative places.
Being a part of Junior League has really helped you in your educating, and in the work that you do. It goes hand in hand, some of the programs that you describe, especially that benchmark program. But everything we do takes us, another step into just a better way of living, and it all melts together. You're now back in education. I really want to know, what is a typical day as assistant principal during a pandemic?
Zoom, and Zoom some more.
Zoom.
Zoom. In all seriousness, what I like about it is that it is different every single day. So for instance, today happened to be, it's a telework day because of the weather. So the buildings were closed. Everybody was home. All right, great. Well, my daughter was home also. So had to kind of deal with her trying to get on school and the Wi-Fi and the bad weather. Okay, great. Well, that starts my day. No big deal. I get up and I had a English language, our ELD department. I had a department meeting with that. It ended up being canceled. Great. I had about 15 extra minutes to get some other things done. And then our communication arts, they had a meeting that I had to join. And after that, I trained a group of teachers in a new writing program for about an hour and a half. Got on and did a sing-along with, I'm sorry, I have to.
You're good.
Did a sing-along, sorry, my cat,
Oh.
So that also happens during Zooms, during the school day also. So we did a sing-along for, the whole staff was on the Zoom. We were all in Christmas things and we did a little sing-along as a quick snippet for the kids on Tuesday before they go to winter break. From there, I went to a planning meeting about an all-school community Zoom that's going to happen. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my schedule that I did today. In between times when I have a little quick moment or two, I post on social media. So I run the Southeast Facebook page and I run the Southeast Instagram and Twitter. And by the way, we do have a TikTok. I don't know how many people are going to know what that is, but we do have a TikTok. And if you went to the Southeast page, you would see my face way too much. So from there, of course, I try my best to answer emails in between there, check my phone, answer text messages, drink my cold coffee from the morning, take a lunch break if I can. Usually at home, it's easier. I can get a lunch break in. If I'm at school, I talk, staff will come in and out and talk in my office. There was a Zoom around new procedures and rollouts for these days that we're having. Like tomorrow is a flexible instruction day. This is a new term for us when we're all at home and it becomes a snow day. And just checking in, something I really try to do every day, especially in a pandemic, is to check in with my teachers. whether it's as a whole or individually, whether it's an email or a quick text, I just try to make sure they know I'm thinking about them. I know sometimes I have to deliver information, or we have to, tell them, hey, look, we have a new protocol, or remember that thing we just planned? We have to scrap that and we have to start over. So I need them to understand that, again, I'm doing the best with what I have, and that I care about them and I want them to do well, because ultimately we want our kids to succeed. And, a lot of times you'll hear educators say, kids come first, kids come first. They do. But who is between administration and kids? Teachers.
The teacher.
Teachers are on the front line dealing with kids. And if they're not healthy, this is another thing, new choices, right? If they're not healthy, they cannot be there for our kids. When a couple years ago, when I was the coach at Reynolds, our whole year of professional development was the airplane mask analogy. If you do not put the mask on first, if you don't take care of yourself first, you cannot help anyone around you.
Right.
It is so important. That is so important. And people scoff at self-care, right? Sometimes self-care becomes, a not great word. But when you realize that it is not about pedicures and massages, and it's about self-awareness and self-advocacy and just being a decent human, it changes your mindset a little bit. Again, we go back to mindset and being positive. So other than that, that's like a typical day. But again, tomorrow is going to be completely different. And that's what I like about it.
Do you do visits? Like, do you visit the classroom? Are you checking in? Are you checking in with home visits or classroom visits? I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, so we have a team that does home visits, and they work their tails off. Our social worker, our counselors, they are out at homes. I'm not exaggerating when I say daily. So for them, that might be a little extra work. A silver lining could be that we're making connections with families and kids, right? Mm-hmm. But I will go out and do home visits here and there if I need to. I taught a lesson. This isn't anything that any educator hasn't done, but taught a lesson on a porch. In School District of Lancaster, we have been remote and virtual since August. And actually, if you think about it, since March, we have not been back to school at the secondary level. And honestly, if all I could do all day was to go into classes, that is all I would do. That's my favorite part of the day. Right now we have, depending on the day of the week, it's either morning classes that are Zooming or it's afternoon classes. And I really try to schedule my day that I get to go into classes. Sometimes the teachers will text me afterwards and they're like, the kids were talking and then you came in and they shut up. They were silent. They didn't say a word. And I said, are you kidding me? Like, why? And for some of them, they just don't know me. This is my second year at Southeast, and some of them just don't know me. Even though I had them at Washington so many years ago when they were little, there's still some kids that weren't at Washington that they just don't know me. But other times I'll jump into the lesson, or I'll answer the poll, or I'll do whatever the teacher's asking, I'll do it also. That's my favorite time of the day. My favorite time of the day is when I get to go into classrooms.
And Amanda, if they do know you, you were an instructor, you were a teacher, now you're assistant principal. I mean, that's a different role. You shared with me that lifelong learning is the key to continually better yourself in order to support the student or teacher in the future that looks to you for help. Do you want to expand on that?
It's my responsibility to know. I can't be the answer. I can't be the answer book, right? Because that's not helping anyone around me. I want to empower people to find answers themselves. But I am not going to ignore the fact that people look to me to lead, look to me for answers, look to me for support. And there is not one strategy that works for everything and for everyone. So I need to be prepared, right? I need to have my big red heavy toolbox, and I need to have a lot of tools in there that I can pull out at a moment's notice, right? Even the little thingamabob that you've never used before in 10 years. Well, guess what? That one time that you really needed it, you're lucky that you had it. But I enjoy the research. I am a research person. I read all the time. I'm a big Twitter person. I love finding articles, collaborating with people, networking. I actually am an introvert, but I am also an extrovert when it comes to networking. Then I'm exhausted and I need to return back to my room by myself and read again alone. But I'll send articles to teachers, or I'll tag them in a tweet, or I'll send an article to my principal. Like, he's amazing, and I'll say, "Hey, great read," and he dives in, he reads it, and he lets me know what he thinks. So, educating yourself. There is, like Nelson Mandela, right? He said education is your most powerful tool. He's one of my heroes, and that's absolute. That's what it's all about.
It sounds like everyone is working very hard to let teachers teach. I'm curious, what is education in middle school like during COVID, especially for the students?
So a typical day for kids is on a Monday, they wake up, they go to their homeroom class, they sign on to Zoom, they go to their homeroom class, and then they have four classes in a row on Zoom. The teachers are amazing with keeping kids engaged. Some kids, it's difficult for some kids, right? They're at home, and their life at home is not always the best. So sometimes we will hear kids take themselves off mute, and because they have 2 or 3 or 4 siblings who are also on Zoom, it's really loud in the background, and I can't imagine how they're concentrating. Or we might contact a parent and say, "Hey, we're really concerned because, your son or daughter, they haven't shown up for Zooms." And the parent will just, you can tell that they're emotional on the other end, and they're trying their best, but they need to go to work. So they can recognize that, their 13 or 14-year-old is home alone, which is okay to be home alone. But let's be honest, when you were 13 or 14, could you have time management and did you do exactly what you were supposed to do?
Are you asking me?
Feel free to answer that question, because I'm not answering that question.
I don't remember.
Good answer. Good answer.
Middle school is tough. Middle school is tough. I do remember that. And I do remember, raising my own children and how they handled middle school. And I remember it being tough and rough.
Yeah, it's just a tough time in life in general. And then we're asking them to do all these things and manage everything on an online environment. And you have all these classes, and you have to get to this class at this time and sign on here and use this app and go here and do this. And don't forget, tomorrow's different. You start your independent work in the morning and you Zoom in the afternoon. So it's a lot for everybody, parents included. And, we just want to be a partnership with the parents and school. And we just encourage parents to reach out and ask for help, because no judgment, right? We're struggling, they're struggling, kids are struggling. So it's difficult, but we're doing it. We're doing it. And we are finding little successes every day.
I just will give you a shout out now. Thank you very much, teachers. Thank you, educators. Thank you, essential workers. Thank you, parents. Thank you, students. Mm-hmm. You are a single foster mom to a teenage girl. How did that journey begin?
I don't think there's any educator that I've worked with that hasn't thought about taking a kid home. And I have before, lots of times. She's a former student of mine. We connected, and at the time she was going through some really rough patches, rough placements. I saw her through at least 2 different placements. And then she left the school completely. And then that next year I didn't return. I went to a different school. So sometime last November of 2019, I got a phone call from a caseworker that said, your name was given to us as a family resource. Are you still interested in helping this child? And I said, well, of course. What do you need? And they said, we need her to live with you. And I said, okay. And I probably hadn't spoken to her. I think she came back to summer school and I saw her there. And then she called me and left a message one time and didn't leave a phone number. And so I couldn't call her back. So I had a message on my phone. So I said I said, okay, so can we talk more about that? So the next day, a caseworker came out, talked to me, explained to me exactly what was going to be happening, what my role was, what kind of support I would have, just tons of things you can't even imagine. And honestly, I think when the caseworker first called me, deep down, I knew my answer was going to be yes. I talked to my family, I talked to my friends, because one of the things that on the application or that you have to prove is that you have a tribe. And those that know me know that my tribe is my world. And I have a tribe. I have a tribe like no other. I have a tribe, although Dawn is not with us anymore, she is still part of my tribe looking over me every single day. But I am grateful for that tribe that I have. And, you know, so it was a done deal. And I was planned a trip for Spain over Thanksgiving and last year, and I went to Spain and I came home from Spain and I picked her up. So it was kind of like my baby moon, right? Do people take that when they have a little trip when they're pregnant before they have a baby or something? Well, Spain was my baby moon, and she came, and it was a year ago that I got her, like 2 weeks ago, and we haven't looked back, and we're loving life right now. And I'm just trying to instill in her the lifelong learning, and I'm trying to instill in her that positive attitude and giving back to people as much as I can. No matter where you are in life, there's someone that has it worse than you. And it is our responsibility to give back and just to be kind.
You sound like you feel very blessed, and I'm sure it's been very hard.
Oh yeah. Nothing is easy that's worth it. Nothing is easy that's worth it, in my opinion. But again, that mindset, you know, you have to look at what you can control and what you can't control. And what you can always control is how you react to things.
Yes.
Always.
If our listeners are interested in becoming a foster parent, where would they begin?
So my route was a little non-traditional. Teachers can be kinship. And so I'm actually considered a kinship foster, which I thought was pretty cool. But you can contact the Children and Youth Agency. You can contact agencies such as COBES that provide fostering services. And they are great. They tell you about the training and what you need to do. And there's lots of different avenues that you can go down if you're interested in that path. And every step of the way, in my experience, I've always been able to say no and feel comfortable saying no. They are so supportive, and they want to make sure you really evaluate every aspect before you say yes.
I think there was a comment that popped up. I think it was from Erica Lauren. She is so lucky to have you.
I'm lucky to have her. You know, there's a friend of mine that says, who saved who?
You're amazing. You are really amazing, Amanda. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your story. You can reach Amanda at amandafunkjll@gmail.com. I'd like to leave you with this. You don't always need to put in effort to move forward. Sometimes the most profound growth happens in the stillness between moments. Join us next time as we aim to inspire, empower, and inform. Life in the Next Act is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. You can find the show streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And you could subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcasts.
Gail has experienced many acts over the years. Living a full life, she is a mother of 2 and grandmother of 3, and currently calls Lancaster, PA home. An entrepreneur at heart, she's owned several businesses, hosted a popular radio show, and has written for prominent publications highlighting nonprofits. While she holds her real estate license in Florida and PA, She believes her true calling is giving others a voice.
Learn more about Gail at gailshane.com. Life in the Next Act is produced by the Candy Factory Collective at the Candy Factory Co-working Campus in Lancaster, PA. Production support by Jason Mundock and Anna Tran. Administrative support by Ann Kirby, Ariana Henderson, and Krisha Martzell. Notes and links can be found on the show post at our website, candyfactorycollective.com. Candy Factory.
Collective.